Hey folks, it's us, podcasting wonderkins John Bishop and Lucas Southworth.
Although this is a podcast about cars, it is not age appropriate for the target demographic of these films, as we usually end up talking about the reproductive organs of Lightning McQueen.
Alright, now let's take a look under the hood.
Hello and welcome to the Chat, the only podcast brave enough to ask the question, what's up with car hair loss? I'm John Bishop, and I'm overly concerned with hair loss.
I'm Lucas Southworth, and I'm overly concerned with how much that didn't fit our usual scheme of opening the episode, but that's alright, John.
Very not fun fact.
Ooh, right off the
By
gate!
By the age of 50, did you know that 85% of men will experience significant hair loss?
I guess I didn't.
Do you know that 95% of hair loss can be attributed to some form of alopecia?
Oh, is that the disease where you can't grow hair? Can't grow it back?
It's a strange skin condition. Did you know that the first signs of hair loss can be found before the age of 21?
I did know that. My brother's hairline receded early in college for him. How are things going, John?
I'm worried about hair loss.
You know, the good news is I don't think you come off as outwardly worried about it. You know,
That's good.
I think you're hiding it very well.
All right. Apparently, these facts that I've listed are on creditdonkey.com, so...
Why'd you Okay.
Creditdonkey.com.
That's good.
Hair loss statistics.
Okay, thank you to Credit Donkey, our sponsor this week.
Your leading site for hair loss statistics, apparently.
And if you want to insure a donkey, I don't know, Credit Donkey.
Credit cards.
Yes. This week on the Chat,
we are discussing male pattern baldness.
Very tangentially.
Oh, what are we actually talking about then?
John, it's much more serious than that, okay? Much more respected.
Okay.
A much bigger topic than that, you know?
Alright.
Important.
It's big. What is it? Okay, it's important.
I just kind of want to talk about the Rust-eze brothers for a while. You know,
Like, how much of the episode do you want to talk about the Rust-eze brothers?
John,
like, a few minutes? Because we get. Oh, I'll admit, we gave like 10 minutes to Bruce Lee versus the Mountain. So I could imagine we could go for like a whole 20 minutes on the Rust-eze brothers. I'm sure we could make that happen.
You know, John, I'm really glad you asked, because I would really just love to do the whole episode on the Rust-eze brothers. If it's all the same with you.
The whole episode?
Yes, I want to do a deep dive into these characters who, in my research, have 7 appearances in the Cars universe.
Did your research tell you how much like screen time in total they get?
I bet I could find that out, but I don't know it right now, no. If I'd have to guess, let's see. They got like a sort of lengthy scene at the beginning of Cars 1, and then the rest of them are not that long. So, I would say around 8 minutes would be my estimate.
Okay, so characters that are in these movies for 8 minutes maybe. We're going to talk for like an hour about that?
Oh, no. We're probably going to talk for longer than that, and then I'm going to edit it down to around an hour, was my plan.
Oh,
anyway.
Boy. Yay. Okay. I hope you enjoy this episode of The Chat. It's probably the last one because no one's going to listen after this.
Folks, I do not take the same attitude John has about this subject.
So
I think it's going to be our best episode, and I had to, a little peek behind the curtain, I had to campaign John over multiple texts to get him to agree to do this.
So what's our clever name gonna be for this one? Because it's not gonna be about male pattern baldness in the Cars universe, so it can't be car pattern baldness. So what do you think we're gonna call this one?
1. Car pattern baldness is a terrible pun. It's not even a pun. 2.
Well, you think of a better one.
I have a great pun. I have one for our actual episode title. I want to call it Profiles in Carriage, the Rust-eze brothers. Like
yeah, like
Profiles in
Profiles in
Courage.
Courage. Is it
The
JFK?
JFK wrote it about like some senators. It's a fairly famous piece of text, John. Just because you hadn't heard of it before
Yeah,
I mentioned it doesn't mean
that's real great.
our average listener won't.
Lucas, what number of people that listen to our podcast are gonna dig that title?
10 million, John.
10 million people.
This is going to be our big break, John. We finally cracked the code. People want to hear about the Rust-eze brothers.
People want to hear about the Rust-eze brothers, you say. And the way we're going to get them to...
Yes, it's what people are clamoring for.
And the way we're going to get people to click on this episode is to name the episode Profiles in Courage.
No, again, you're not getting it. I want to name it Profiles in Courage, the Rust-eze brothers.
What do colons have to do with this? They make medicated bumper ointment, not colon medication.
You knew what I meant, and you purposely misunderstood to make a joke. And I'm not in a joking mood. I want to talk about the Rust-eze brothers.
Okay. You heard it here first on this, our comedy podcast. We're not here to make jokes. We're here to talk about the Rust-eze brothers, I guess.
John, I think a great way for us to start would be to tell people who probably don't know who the Rust-eze brothers are. Would
Lucas,
you agree?
Who don't know who the Rust-eze brothers are? Name one person who doesn't understand that the Rust-eze brothers are clearly the two characters in the Cars franchise who own Rust-eze?
Yes, they're the owners of Rust-eze, which is Lightning's sponsor throughout all of the movies. They appear fairly heavily, that's at a stretch. They appear most heavily in the first Cars movie. And their names are Rusty and Dusty. Their last name is Rust-eze. So one of them is named Dusty Rust-eze, which is like, let me tell you, 30% of the reason I wanted to do this episode is because one of them is literally named Dusty Rust-eze with the hyphen.
Oh, next thing you're going to tell me his name's Rusty Carman Rust-eze.
Oh, like Mario Jumpman Mario? Was that the...
Yes, that's the joke.
Got it.
What's Luigi's middle name?
Jump Boy, because he has to be lesser than his brother.
But he's taller.
Yeah, but they certainly don't give Luigi anything else.
He can jump further?
He can, usually. He's also consistently portrayed as a coward.
Yeah. Luigi Guigi Mario.
That's pretty good. That's it. We got there, folks. Stop giving us the real answer. We already got it,
We got it? Got it in 5.
Yes. And I do need to really quick make sure everyone understands that their last name is Rust-eze. And like, if you look at the episode title, because even if John talks me off the cliff with Profiles in Courage, the Rust-eze brothers, I imagine Rust-eze will appear in the title somewhere. The hyphen in the middle of it is part of their last name. Their last name has a hyphen in the middle of it. It's Rust-Eze. That's their last name. That's what they decided to name these characters, is Rusty and Dusty Rust-eze.
I think Eazy-E is the name of a rapper. Also, wouldn't Eazy-E just be Ez?
I mean, that's certainly not how they pronounce it in the movies.
Rusty and Dusty Rust-eze? Oh boy.
Yes. But these two characters, like I said, they are constant supporters of Lightning. They are his first ever sponsor. He almost leaves them at the end of the first movie, but he discovers the power of friendship or whatever. Then they are not in the second movie whatsoever. So
you gave them 8 minutes, knowing full well they're not in one of the movies?
Yes, they're in a decent little portion of the first one, and like select scenes of the third one. But It's the third
Okay.
one, as I'm saying. They come back and like they sell their company to who voices the bad guy?
Nathan Fillion.
They sell the Rust-eze to Nathan Fillion's character because I don't know, he could do better for Lightning. That part didn't make much sense to me. But yeah, that's pretty much their whole part in the Cars movies.
Yeah, but I think there's
And
a far more important part that they play.
I'd love it if you told me, John. I would just love it.
See, this is an interesting thing that I've probably brought up before, but there was a point in Cars 3 where it looked like Lightning was missing a piece of his outside, and it looked like he had like a bald spot on what would have been his head. And you know how the Cars universe decided to show baldness and covering up said baldness?
I mean, I do, but
They put grass on him. They put grass on him, Lucas. The man wears grass.
they certainly did.
You want to know who else wears grass?
Again, I know the answer, but
No
I'll act
one.
like I.
No one wears grass.
That's true.
Ugh.
It's
Why
Rusty
does he wear
is
grass?
the one. Rusty Rust-eze is the one who has what is effectively a toupee made of grass,
Yeah, I don't get it.
which I think we may mention briefly in the fashion episode, but who can remember the fashion episode?
So weird thing I want to go on a tangent about, aside from that kind of hair. Why is it that they have decided that so many of these cars are going to have what is obviously a mustache? So many of them have the mustache because of just the general design of cars. And with the way they do that, they give so many characters a mustache, and then the same technique they use to give people mustaches, that same part that is on those cars, it's on the Queen.
Oh man, is it?
They gave the Queen a mustache.
Oh my gosh, really?
They gave the Queen a mustache.
Let's see. Cars 2, Queen car. Yeah, okay. Maybe that's like famously the kind of car she drives or something. I don't know a ton about the
I
Queen.
guess, but like, I see this, and then I see that both Rusty and Dusty have mustaches, clearly. One of them has a toupee, the other one doesn't. What's going on with the like hair in this universe? You might have a bald spot, which is just part of yourself missing. You have a mustache, even if you're the Queen. Ugh. And Dusty has like 4 mustaches, 4 individual mustaches.
Yes.
All right, Lucas, I think there may be some word eating to do.
Word eating? What are you talking about? What?
We gotta eat our own words. We've been
Okay.
talking about how this guy's bald and he's got like hair that's not hair. I think that he's just an old vehicle with a really ratty, torn up convertible top.
Let me look at this here. Let me look at good old Rusty Rust-eze here. I don't know. That's like fur up there almost.
Oh, what if it's mold?
That'd be very gross.
Because like,
Is the answer to that
you
question?
look at the entire top. It looks like a convertible top, but also that's clearly like grass or moss or something. All right, someone who knows about cars and convertibles and old vehicles and whatnot, tell us what that is, please. Please just tell us what that is.
Yeah, I'm looking at. I'm actually starting to agree with you.
Yeah, which brings me to corrections. We've been corrected, or maybe just informed. I don't remember. Our number 1 fan, Faith, has informed us that snails, they keep their shell the whole life, 1 shell.
Yes, that is something we said in what, episode 8?
Sounds right.
That I don't know. We just sort of said like, I don't even know what we said. I think we were just very uncertain, if I remember right. We're like, how do snail shells work? There's no way to know for sure, because that's what we like to say.
Because that's our
And
goof.
then Faith told us for sure. Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, Rusty and Dusty. Stop giving me off subject, John. This is the most important piece of art I'll ever make.
All right. Make the art, boy. Make art.
Okay. So, one thing I want to get into that's not really like, I don't know, it's not really any like theory crafting like we like to do. God, I felt pretentious when I just said the term theory crafting, and I don't want to ever say it again.
I mean, who would ever talk about like crafting a theory as if that's like a worthwhile thing? Like, Could you imagine? What if someone like made videos on like YouTube or something? It was like, I craft theories. I'm a theorist. And what if like I watched it a lot because I really enjoyed it and I found him like charismatic and I really liked it? That'd be dumb, right?
Very. Anyway, yeah, like I said, this one doesn't really like bring too much to the universe, but I was researching these two and I got very interested in this fact. They are brothers in the movie, which we'll get into because they're brothers and they're cars. We'll get into that, but they're voiced by two real life brothers as well. They're voiced by the hosts of the NPR talk show Car Talk, Ray and Tom. I'm gonna mess this up. Magliozzi is going to be my best guess for that. And I don't know, there are a bunch of like really cool little nods to the fact that they're voiced by these hosts of like what is, if you don't know, like a really, really famous and like influential radio show. Like
And you
they
said
always
it was
it
called
was called Car Talk, which is
the
also very good for us.
the chat, the car chat.
Pretty much, when it comes down to it, we are continuing the legacy of Ray and Tom Magliozzi. But
Except they don't they like actually talk about the cars that people like find more interest in?
oh yeah, they are incredibly knowledgeable on, engines and whatnot. And people would call in and say like, "My engine's making a rattling, and it sounds like this," and they'd be like, "Oh, that's your conveyor belt in the middle of the jump pad." And they
And you
would
need some WD-40 and some duct tape because that fixes
and
everything.
they would be almost right. They would be right almost every time. It was. I have not listened to the show Car Talk, but my dad is a big fan of Car Talk,
Mm.
and he has always been very impressed with how they do that. But there are a bunch of little nods to Car Talk in their characters. One of the little sign offs of Car Talk is they would always go. I think at the end, but I don't know this. They would say, "And don't drive like my brother. Don't drive like my brother." And they do that exact exchange in Cars 3, which is
Oh
pretty
boy,
fun.
nice.
Yeah. And there are other things, like one of them, Rusty, who we've been talking about a little bit more, is modeled after the one he's voiced by. I think Ray, but I'm not sure. His like actual car that he owned and
Nice.
talked about a lot. And I just thought that was really cool. And like what I just did probably wasn't that funny, but I was very interested by it, and I wanted you, our listener, to know about it.
As long as we're talking about not funny things, why don't you go ahead and give us your very not fun fact?
Yeah, I got one this week. I did find out that in between the first and third Cars movie, I don't know exactly when it happened, one of the two brothers who voiced them did pass away. And that is very sad. He was very influential. They did still have him in Cars 3. They did the same thing they did with Don Knotts for Toy Story 4s. They just like
Had a lot of
took old
audio.
lines and cobbled them together with really cool audio editing to make them sound like their new lines. But
Well, rest in peace. I
yes,
uh
why would you make me say that? I was just gonna not talk about that, John.
because we can always cut it, and because he was a very influential man who did a thing that's better than what we're doing right now and is also in the thing that we're talking about, and he deserves acknowledgement.
Yeah, that is absolutely true. Anyway, they're brothers. How are Cars brothers, John? How do Cars brothers? When it comes down to it, how do Cars brothers?
Okay, so Squishy Bit
Yes.
and the Squishy Bit is brothers. They're squishy brothers because they're
Yeah,
brothers, mothers, sisters, and your friends. Is that a lyric? That's I don't know because
I'm not sure if it's a lyric, but it sure did sound like you were just having a stroke.
all right. So cars have the sex, and then brothers happen.
I'm sorry. Yeah, you cut out a little bit there. What do the cars do?
They cars they have the sex, and they use their headlights for the sex, and then that makes squishy bits, which they then vomit out for sure. They vomit out the squishy bit, and then those squishy bits, like a venom or esque symbiote, just like go straight into a hunk of metal, and then just combine with it, get absorbed into it, and then again, like a symbiote person relationship, they become one, and that's how cars do the brothers.
That was pretty solid. And I mean, we've talked about, childbirth within the Cars universe before, so it's not like, I don't know, unheard of for us. That doesn't change everything, but like the fact that they're brothers is like some really strong evidence. Like I just listened through our episode on, aging and youth and childbirth and whatnot. I think it was childhood is what we called it, which is a pretty good joke. Good job, us.
Oh yeah.
But we were very uncertain. We were like, they're like some sort of examples of families, but they're not, we don't have super concrete ones. But no, we've got a really concrete familial tie here.
Okay, so symbiotes. Did you know that Venom is Carnage's mother?
I in no way knew that. No.
Okay, so the Venom symbiote was feeling really weird one day, and then all of a sudden, part of it just like slopped off. And do you want to know why Carnage is red?
Blood.
Yes. So Venom was absorbed through the skin. That was how Venom was absorbed, and that's a part of like he's just like this kind of symbiote. But then Carnage was absorbed through open wounds in Cletus Cassidy's body, and because of that, Carnage didn't bind with his body as much as he like can bound with his blood, which turned him like the weird red black splotchiness that he is.
Yeah.
Also, do you remember that time that we were at like a trivia and I was really mad because they got the answer wrong?
Yeah, you said they were wrong about which one was the most dangerous symbiote.
Yes. The question was, who was the most deadly symbiote? And of all of them, the answer should have been Carnage, because he is a symbiote bound to a serial killer, and he's just psychotic. He was born into psychotic, murderous rampage. Whereas the most powerful, which I knew this at the time, the most powerful is Toxin, because Toxin is the like second offspring. So it's Venom is Carnage's mother, Carnage is Toxin's mother. But Toxin was bound to a law-abiding, I think, cop even, and like constantly fought to not be evil. It's weird and good, but he wasn't the most deadly because he doesn't kill as many people.
It isn't. I don't know a ton about Toxin. Is Toxin's thing? He like touches people and they die.
I don't think so.
That sounds like what Toxin's thing would be. Like he's poisonous or something.
That would be very like superhero movie-ish.
Yeah.
Toxin's weird color scheme is that he's like red on half of his body and black on the other half.
That's fun.
All right, so Rust-eze brothers.
Yes.
What is?
I think we can go ahead and get into what I think will take up basically the rest of the episode.
The toupee. You are right. Why has he got a toupee? And why do they not make a medicated hair growth treatment?
Well, I think as we discussed earlier, we discovered it's not really a toupee, and we were completely wrong about that. It is more evidence that he's an old, decaying car.
Yeah, but it's a toupee, man. It's a toupee.
I think we're right in that it's meant to look like a toupee, but I don't think in universe it's supposed to. It's intentional. Like I don't think Dusty Rust-eze, gosh, I love saying that, intentionally messed up his, I don't know what that's called. The converting
top
bit of a convertible.
I guess
yes, convertible top.
Yep.
Yeah, I think you're right. I feel silly calling it that.
It's the top part.
I don't think he messed up his top just to look like he had hair, which he doesn't know what that is,
Okay, so let's talk about it. His name's Rusty. The other guy's name is Dusty. Let's talk about Rust in regards to cars. These brothers.
John!
They sell a...
John!
Yeah?
John?
Yeah?
That brings me to a question from Liz.
Oh, boy. Smooth transition.
Listen, You bring up the thing that's the question from Liz is about, and I don't want us to answer the question without, saying the question first.
Okay, what's the question?
The question is, here we go. Is rust like flesh-eating bacteria for cars?
Like necrotizing fasciitis? I don't think it's like
If
that.
you will.
Because if it were that, then this ointment would be a like, I don't know, a much more serious thing. Because like you would just die within hours without this ointment.
I mean, but like rust is a pretty big deal. Like it's not like as deadly, obviously, as flesh-eating bacteria, but like a guy's mouth falls off because he's so rusty in the first movie.
Oh shoot, you're right. His mouth falls off.
Like multiple times. Like it's a running joke. It happens a couple of times.
Also, Mater is just covered in rust.
Is it more like leprosy?
I don't know. It usually just means they're dirty. But if someone's parts are falling off, that would be like leprosy.
I mean, at a certain point,
Oh,
doesn't rust start to like eat through metal? Do I have a fundamental misunderstanding of rust?
I think you do, but in the wrong direction. It's not at a certain point. That's what it is.
That's what I meant, basically.
Rust is just the oxidization of metal. So like if a car is turning to rust, that's not its flesh being eaten through by a bacteria. It's its body, like it's like when you get a sunburn and your skin just starts peeling off. It's your own skin just being destroyed by something.
That sounds pretty close to a flesh-eating bacteria to me.
But here's the thing, it only affects the exoskeleton.
Yeah, like it doesn't, affect. I'm not saying it affects the squishy bit. I'm saying for car, it is the equivalent for cars of flesh-eating bacteria, or rather, I assume Liz was saying that.
If we're assuming the exoskeleton is like, I don't know, an actual skeleton per se, then I think it's more of a bone disease.
Okay, sure.
Oh no. It's probably cancer, isn't it?
Yeah, I sort of came to that thought right as you did, bud.
Well, let's talk about something else. Their new bone cream.
Yes, that's...
They sell a medicated bumper ointment. That's the phrase, right?
Yes, Rusty's fast-acting medicated bumper ointment.
Lucas, how have we not talked about this before?
I don't know,
making
man.
me reconsider. Okay, so they got bodies that are cars, and we're all like, no, it's just an exosuit made of metal. You can't medicate an ointment and put it on something that's just metal and that do anything.
Yeah,
It's gotta be a biological metal for sure, meaning like that's a part of the body rather than just like a suit they're wearing. So like just these characters existing, either these two characters are selling just nonsense like voodoo dolls of, oh yeah, it's real, it's totally real, and it does nothing because those words don't mean anything, or for sure their bodies are flesh.
Yeah, and that actually is a actual good transition into there has to be a better title than the wiki quote of the day. This week it comes from https://pixar.fandom.com/wiki/Rusty's medicated bumper ointment.
Give me that quote of the day, that or something better than that title.
Yes.
Wikipedia.
What I got here is the product was created by brothers Dusty and Rusty Rust-eze and is somewhat of a ripoff, as the commercial states. Actual results may take up to 36 weeks, which is about 9 months.
Okay.
But I don't think that takes all of the air out of, it being medicine. Because, like,
I mean,
clearly it's not fast acting, as they claim.
One would imagine that if you consider the car body to be bone, that like it taking a long time to heal would make sense.
Yeah.
Like if you have something that's like degrading your bones and someone comes out with an ointment that you can rub on yourself that will eventually heal your bones, and it takes 9 months because it's ointment. I get that. That makes sense. If I rub lotion
Yeah,
on my foot for 9 months and it all of a sudden I don't feel that pain from that time I probably broke it anymore, that's good enough for me.
yeah, and like the fact that they have the exact figure of actual results may take up to 36 weeks suggests that there was like research done into this, that it's, I don't know, FDA approved, that like that was an FDA like mandate that they have to state that. But if the FDA mandated it, then it has to do something.
And man, I've got so many feelings about specifically that. It has to do something, and it says up
So
to
that's the
36 weeks.
max.
That means that that's like that's the cap of, oh, if it takes longer than this, it's just not working. That means it has an effect, and it takes like at most that long. So that's like evidence right there that this is a real product, which means I don't understand the wiki quote of the day or the title that's better than that one. But like, how's it ripoff if it definitely works? I will say, be much easier just to like sand off the rust, uh, apply some layers of sealant and whatnot so that you don't rust anymore. That'd probably be a better idea.
All probably very true.
You do that, you're treated in, I don't know, a few hours versus 9
But maybe
months.
that's the thing. Maybe rust is more of like a infection or bacteria or their version of it. Maybe they can't just, sand off the affected areas, Maybe that's why they don't just do
I
it.
mean, sanding off the affected areas is essentially like if we got a sunburn or a rash and we just like burned off that skin.
Yeah. I mean, what I do when I get a sunburn is I put aloe on it. Maybe this is just like aloe. It's just aloe vera.
What if they're just selling aloe? You heard it here first, folks. Rusty's medicated bumper ointment is just aloe vera.
We've made a big breakthrough with that. But
We've also discovered that we need to do an entire new biology episode because for sure these cars, they're not just in robot suits.
yeah, I gotta assume, and we like again in childhood, very briefly touch on this, the idea of like their bodies being very slightly biological, which I think could still be the case. We could still be like pretty close to it. It may just be like they have a main squishy bit,
Yeah.
and like their outside is mostly mechanical, but like is sort of linked biologically, but is not fully biological. If that's a thing that makes sense at all, what I just said.
Eh. I mean, does any of this make any sense?
No, absolutely not, which is why we make a podcast about it. But
True.
the idea of medicine at all in the Cars universe is very strange to me.
Hey, Lucas.
Go ahead, Johnny.
It's time for a fun fact.
I was waiting for it. Give it to me.
The product known as minoxidil is a solution that is the main active ingredient in products such as Rogaine. It is the product that specifically stimulates follicle blood flow, and due to this product, the way that it works, it has some sad side effects, like it dries your skin out and it doesn't work on receding hairlines as well. But the fun fact is that I can't confirm this. There haven't been enough studies, all that jazz. But if you use it on your face and you are a man, do not do this at home. Do not do this at home. Do not blame me. If you do this, and you have like the reason you would do this is the reason that I did it. You have a lack of facial hair. You can put it on the area of your face where you want to be growing facial hair, and it will stimulate the follicles in such a way that it will turn vellus hairs into more mature, developed hairs. And that is how I have hair on the side of my face now.
Why would you?
Lucas, I put the main active ingredient of Rogaine on my face until I could grow a beard.
Honestly,
And now I've got one.
I'm not even judging that act. What I am laughing at is you deciding to tell whatever audience we have by the time this episode comes out about it.
Lucas, if I had known that I could do this earlier, I would have done it so much earlier.
Again,
It's not a great beard. It'll just make whatever you have more. And again, no guarantee that it's going to work. It just worked for me and has worked for a lot of people. But more research needs to be done. Actual, like, real studies need to be done. It does cause certain strange issues, like if you ingest it in any way, which do not do. It will cause heart problems.
I
If
was
you,
hoping you were going to say it make hair grow in your tummy. That's less fun.
it makes hair grow on your teeth. Oh, and it will cause dry skin. There are other side effects that I haven't really experienced much of. It just if you consume it, which if you put it on your mouth and you lick your lips, it will cause a bit of anxiety. So don't do that.
Yeah, and John already basically said this. This is not a recommendation from us to do this. If
In
you
fact,
want
I
to
am
do this,
insisting that you do not do this.
yeah,
Wait until studies have come out, consult physicians and whatnot. Do other things. Don't do this. I did
Yeah.
it. It worked for me. It might not work for you. For all I know, it could kill you. Do not do this.
and if you do, it is your choice and has nothing to do with us. Got that liability out of the way. Our lawyers are happy and non-existent.
Absolutely.
Man, you sort of went all in on the toupee idea with your facts and not fun facts, huh? And we sort of,
Lucas, I really care about making sure that I have hair when I'm old.
this is something I know
And
about
also,
you.
I really care about having a beard.
Another thing I know about you.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's funny since like 5 minutes into the episode, we were like, "Oh, that's not a toupee." Oh, well, dang. There goes an entire talking
Yeah,
point.
I put all of my eggs into one basket, and then I threw that basket off of a cliff. And now I'm still counting my eggs.
Yeah, man. If I wouldn't have noticed that, is all I'm saying.
Yep.
I
So, there's my fun fact for the day. Let's talk about Dusty.
we haven't talked a lot about Dusty. We've talked a lot about Rusty Rust-eze. Let's talk about Dusty Rust-eze. What's up, John?
What's up with Dusty? Is he?
What is
He's like the Luigi of the two, but that's sad because like he's based on a real person, and I don't want to think of either of those people as the Luigi of the brothers because who wants to be the Luigi of the brothers?
Yeah, I don't
Luigi doesn't even want to be the Luigi of the Mario Luigi brothers.
John, I hate to break in. I've got breaking news from the Cars wiki here. I was just looking at Dusty Rust-eze's profile here. It's not just Rust. Rusty and Dusty are there with a can of Rusty's to fix it, or at least ease the burning, itching, or soreness that plagues so many cars with rust. There are other physical symptoms.
So is it a rash?
I think it's a rash.
Is it chafing?
It's not.
I think that sounds right. It sounds like a rash.
It hurts them, though,
But a rash that's so bad, your jaw can fall off.
Yes, but I think that's lends more credence to their bodies are biological in some way because they can feel pain from them, which we've talked about a little bit. But
yeah,
that's very direct,
All right. Oh,
I want to get a little.
No.
What is happening?
Okay, so not fun fact time. I'm pretty sure deer carry leprosy. That's just a weird, crazy thing. But also, you could have leprosy and not exhibit symptoms for 5 to 20 years.
Yikes!
So you spread it to a bunch of people because leprosy. But man, that's sad.
As always,
It is treatable.
Yeah, I was gonna bring up that leprosy is much more treatable with modern medicine. So
It
isn't
takes 6 to 12 months to treat, though.
which
Oh, shoot.
John, that ties right back into 36 weeks for it to work.
6 to 12 months, or right in the middle. Rust is leprosy. For sure.
Oh man. That it's so rare that we get something that gives us really solid evidence. Usually we are just making up, you know? And clearly we still are, but like, man, that's some like that works. That works really well.
It really does. It requires 6 to 12 months of a multi-drug therapy. Early treatment avoids disability, so like your jaw won't fall off if you get
Jaw
early
falling
treatment.
off.
It's spread through the air, coughs or sneezes, but guess what? Moisture in the air is the cause of rust, meaning that rust is also an airborne illness. It's
I mean,
for sure this is leprosy.
lightning treats the rusty cars in that first scene like how people would stereotypically treat that group of people. He doesn't want to get near them. He feels incredibly uncomfortable around them. And like that's to show Lightning is very superficial, which he is. But like, yeah, rust is leprosy, my dude.
Oh, these two are single-handedly selling the cure to leprosy. And they're not making much money off of it, but they're just doing good, honest work, trying to help these people out. And
Underrepresented people, you know?
underrepresented a suffering class of people, and all I can talk about is how one of them has a toupee.
How one of them doesn't have a toupee. And it's just like gotten to a little. I mean, he has money. He could have afforded to fix that little bit.
Yeah, but
Maybe
I
it
don't.
was intentional. It could be a toupee or their version of it.
I don't
But
think
how
he
would they
wants
know
to
what?
get it fixed because I don't think he wants to lose touch with the people he's helping. I think it's the bumps, the scratches, the bruises along the way that let him know that he's a person and let him know what he's striving for. He wants to help the world. This is, man, these two characters, Rusty and Dusty.
Yeah, that actually, what you were talking about with them staying like sort of humble, actually goes back to what was like my runner up for the wiki quote of the day, or a better title probably, which is on Rusty's wiki page. They talk about in his little bio about blah 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 blah. Rusty and his brother Dusty created a small empire out of their mother's garage in Boston. It's been over 15 years. Their mother has watched the operation grow into a household name with factories all over the country. Rusty and Dusty's mother says she couldn't be more proud of her two boys' accomplishments, but hope that their next big move will be to finally move out of her garage.
They still live
So-
in her garage?
Yes.
They sold
They
the
could,
company
like-
for like millions of dollars.
Yes, these are like very rich men. They sponsor a race car.
They sponsor a race car, own the medicated bumper ointment business, and they live in a garage of their mother's.
Yeah, they don't. I gotta assume they're just the two most down to earth people in this universe. They say, we don't need much, you know.
I mean, if their mother wants them to move out, then I have a feeling they're a little too laid back.
That could be very much the case,
Really?
and probably is. But
You know, what if they're living out of their mother's house because they really just want to put all of the money they get into the business so they can help as many people as they can?
I think that's pretty much definitely what they're doing. I think, oh man, I really like Rusty and Dusty, John.
I mean, they seem like really great guys.
Like they've got a great story with their voice actors. One of them is named Dusty Rust-eze. They seem very down to earth. They're honestly, genuinely one of like the funniest parts of the movie for me. I think they're very funny. Oh man, I really like these two, Johnny.
Yeah, it's a lot, man.
The fact that they have factories, as they say, all over the country, multiple factories means like rust is a pretty big problem.
I mean, imagine if leprosy were the common cold. That's pretty much what this would be because it's like the disease. Like everyone gets it.
Yeah, yeah.
How do you avoid it? All it is
Oh
is
man,
time.
this is good. On their joint wiki page, it says personality and traits. Rusty and Dusty like to joke around a lot. They're both very kind, especially to each other, as well as Lightning McQueen. Both appear to treat their fellow Rusty cars as a family.
Oh.
Golly. Yeah. We found some good cars this week, Johnny. I think that this Profiles in Carriage has been very successful.
I guess. But, like, how much of this were we actually talking about these wonderful boys?
Oh, how much are we ever talking about anything?
Good point. We did make a podcast based on something we only, like, slightly care about. By slightly, I mean we enjoyed the first movie a long time ago.
I will say, I very much care about talking about it in this fashion. I get very passionate, but
It's something.
you're
It's
very much
something
right.
you grow to love to talk
That
about.
the movies themselves.
Yeah, like Cars 2. I enjoyed the movie, but like talking about how messed up it is, that's great.
Yes, absolutely. Johnny, it sure feels like it's about time to wrap this one up. What do you think?
All right, yeah, I think it's time to wrap it up.
Cool. That's going to do it for this episode. If you want to follow us on Twitter, we're at thekachat. If you want to send us an email, we're thekachat@gmail.com. Both of those, all one word for the Kachat. The hyphen is not in there.
But for Spotify, it is?
Spotify it is, but that's just like the name of our podcast, you know?
Yep. All right. Also, make sure to follow me on Instagram. I'm john.c.bishop. Don't remember exactly what your name is, but is it LL Cool Self?
It is.
Nice.
You can follow me if you want. I don't really care. If you're on something where you can give us a rating or a review, that'd be super cool of you. That will
Like or
we would
comment.
appreciate you doing so. Yeah, that stuff. Subscribe. I don't know what you can do. I don't know what platform you're on, but do all
Please
those
just
things.
recommend
It
it
helps
to
us grow.
all your friends. Recommend it to everybody.
Find your favorite group chat. Just send the words "the Kachat" to them right now. We'll wait.
Just send a
We're
link.
not gonna wait.
Just send a link to the Kachat. No, we'll wait. We're waiting right now. It is the future, but also the past. So I guess we're waiting, but also we're going to wait. Yep.
Hey, folks! I just edited out 3 hours of us waiting for you to send that text. Least you could do, send it right now. Or
Lucas,
no.
can I go
I think
can
this.
I go to sleep now? We've been recording this episode for 8 hours. Okay, so
That was some interesting math you did there, John.
oh, we talked about the brothers for like 5 hours, and then you cut down all of the parts where I wasn't actually talking about the brothers. So, please, Lucas, it's been 8 hours.
Yes, I think we've said everything. Thanks so much for listening. I've been Lucas.
Float like a Cadillac.
He's John, sting like a beaver.